Hello everyone, my name is Lacey. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and if you haven't been here before, I talk about positivity, law of attraction, my life, just what I'm thinking or feeling, and I think that this video, because it's that time of the year where you're going around family and you might just be getting out of your comfort zone by going around people that you don't see eye to eye with sometimes, I do think it's a good reminder that sometimes it's okay to set boundaries. I know, it's hard. Someone has to say it, but it's true. Sometimes it is okay to set boundaries. Just because just because you don't see eye to eye with someone does not mean you need to argue with them either. I'm gonna say that too. Sometimes it's okay to set boundaries, and most times, I really do believe that if most of us stopped arguing with the people that saw things differently with us, instead kept living our life for how we believe in it. Does that make sense? If we just lived our life how we live it, how we believe, and just did the things we were doing instead of focusing all of our time and arguing with people who don't see eye to eye with us or don't believe the same thing as us, the world will be such a different place. We probably would see eye to eye with more people, or at least understand them in a different way if we took the time to focus on what we believe in first versus trying to change how they are, change how they perceive you, or change how they interact with you, and instead just put that boundary up. Or maybe once you change yourself, or I'm not saying change yourself, but once you just realize yourself more and show more love to yourself and really start to understand yourself, I think it's easier to understand others. It's also easier to have it opens you up to having more like space for those interactions. I think that you kind of want to understand people from a different perspective. People who don't see eye to eye with you, it's more interesting. Not interesting because like sometimes people are jerks, and that's like when I mean jerks, I mean someone who's genuinely not a very nice person. Um, Sometimes, if we can see them from a different perspective, we might realize that yelling at them, arguing with them, trying to butt heads with them to get them to see the world in the way we do is never going to work. I promise you. It's never going to work. You think it's going to work, and I know you're trying your best to get them to see eye to eye with you, but it's not going to work that way. I know. It's hard to see it and hard to understand it, but it's not going to work. It's not, and wasting your time and energy to try to change them is not doing anything for anyone. If anything, that's when you really need to put the boundary up and you need to say, I don't want to be around this person anymore. But that's for you to decide. Every interaction that you have or the people in your life, it's your decision to decide if you have space for it or not. And that's not always easy, especially with like family. But I do think that family is actually where it starts. I think that when I removed a family member out of my life years and years ago, my mother, and everyone in my family, if they even saw this or even she saw this video, everything I'm going to say is something they've all heard or they all know at this point. But I had to separate from her. I had to completely remove her out of my life, and years and years go by of I did not want to be in the same room with them. I said that to my family. I'm like, not happening. I have to be separate. If I'm going to be in the same room as you, it's not going to happen. And for myself, I worked on myself. I really, really, really looked within. It took years. I had to get sober. I had to kind of realize what I even want out of life, to understand her in a different way, to kind of see how she even, I don't always see eye to eye with her, but kind of understand her deeper in a way of like, now we can be in the same room as each other. We can interact through others. I do not have a relationship with her by any means, but we can be in the same room as each other. We can be around each other, but we're not going to interact with each other. I don't want her knowing anything about me in that way. And that's just what it's going to be for now. But I do think that setting that boundary first made me understand her in a different way. Maybe not in anything that I think if I would have never put the boundary up and I just would have let it keep happening, we would never be to where we are today. It would probably be worse. I would have reacted a way a lot different, and I would not be able to interact with her at all. And I I kind of just want this to be something like I don't even know where this video is going. But it's that time of the year, where you're going around family members or friends or people in your life that you genuinely care about and you want to be around or you love them. But it hurts. It's something that is just there's something there that you want to be around it. You want them to see things from your perspective, but that's not always going to happen. And forcing it on them and forcing them to change or trying to get them to change, it only is going to hurt yourself. I promise you. Waiting for someone else to change to make you feel better is only going to hurt you in the long run. And I had to learn that the hard way. Letting go of how others live their life and realizing that they're just people. They're living their life just like you. And just because, okay, trying to change someone by being angry or forcing your beliefs on them is only going to push them away or make them more adamant on their beliefs. Because, like, if everything is what you believe in, okay, to people who believe negative things or people who believe or live a certain lifestyle, okay, to them, everything they think is what is true. So living their life the way they do works for them in whatever way. It could be that it's not working for them, actually, and they're in cycles and loops and whatnot. But to them, it's it's what all they know. It's literally all they know. And if you see people as that everything they're doing is all they know, like that's just how they live their life, you're able to go about interacting with them in a different way so that you can be around them and see them and understand them and realize that, like, maybe by you living your life the way you want to and showing them that if you want good for them, that's the best way to do it. Seeing you happy, seeing you thrive could help them want to feel better themselves. And I think that, like, when we let go of making others change, that is the only way we're ever going to see change in the world around us, honestly, instead of forcing anyone. Like, if you try to force your beliefs on anyone, they're just not gonna see eye to eye about it, especially, like, let's say religious people or people who have different political views or whatnot. To them, what they believe in is true. And that's why, like, you see so many arguments, and it only makes us separate. It does not bring us together by any means by butting heads over those things. And I understand. Listen, I know it's because you love them and you want what's best for them and you want them to succeed and have a happy and amazing life. But arguing about it is not going to fix anything. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to help anyone see the other side's point of view. If anything, it's going to make your relationship more distant or harder to see eye to eye instead of coming at it from a place of understanding. And I think that maybe being around others that see things differently than you and experience, like, showing your life, showing how you're changing or the things you're doing or working for you is really the only way that you can change anyone's opinion about anything. And so if you're going around people, maybe your family members that you have these kind of relationships with, just be gentle on yourself, be nice to yourself. Don't let what they say or do decide what your worthiness is, because you're worthy and deserving of everything you want and more just because you're you, and they are as well. They are, in my mind, all humans are powerful human beings, you know? If you want to go into what I believe in, I believe that we're all creators of the universe, you know, all of that. And I think that we're all powerful beings. And we have to allow others to decide for themselves what works for them. And like I might have said this already, but as long as they're not harming, like physically harming others or whatever, you have to give them the space, because sometimes, like, just because someone says something does not mean that when you're talking to them it doesn't click in their mind. You know, I've had people literally say months after talking to me, and they kind of were rude about it at first, literally say that things I've said, they went home, like they actually were snappy at me when I was talking to them about positivity stuff. And next time I interacted with them, not joking with you, like 3-4 months later, they came up to me and were like, I have taken things you said and put it into my daily life, and I've seen changes from it. And I would have never in my life thought that they would have done that. I had a conversation with them. They didn't seem to take it the best way, you know? And I kind of just let it go. I'm like, okay, I was still nice to them and kind to them. Months later, they came back and were like, oh my gosh, like, I listened to what you said. And I would have never thought, like, genuinely never thought. And I think it was because I gave them that chance. I never reacted negatively when they didn't see the way I did. And I kind of let them decide for themselves. I let them kind of stew. Every human, like, we're all humans. You yourself have thoughts. You probably have been snappy at someone or rude to someone, or maybe didn't agree with what they said, but that doesn't mean like right away you didn't agree, but maybe something was going on in your mind when you were talking to them that you didn't say out loud because you hadn't processed it yourself. And I think that when we interact with others with that perspective, where maybe what we're saying could actually make a difference in the future, we're going to come at it in a different way. We're going to come at it like softer and more gentle and from a loving place. And I think that that is something that I know personally has made the most change in other people's lives. This is something that I don't think that others have to change. Just because I live my life the way I do doesn't mean they need to live their life the way I do. But I think that letting go of how others feel about what I believe in or whatnot has like made the biggest difference, and trying to not like force it on them or try to change their mind. And I say this because I know I know it's because you love them. So it's just a reminder to take it easy on yourself, be gentle, and remind yourself that you're doing what you can, and you're doing a great job, and that whatever comes up the next few weeks or the next year or however long, you got this. You can do it. If you need to set boundaries with people, or if you need to have tough conversations with people, just realize that arguing, please, please, from my soul, I beg you from my soul, arguing is not going to fix anything. It's really not. If anything, it's going to make things worse. So this is me begging you. this is me saying. I guess I'm doing exactly. Well, I was going to say this is me doing exactly what I'm telling you guys not to do. But you did click on this video, so maybe that's not true. But please don't let others and the way they see the world around you decide your worth for you, and realize that that's for you to decide, and that's for them to decide for themselves. And yeah, please if you take anything from this, allow others the space that you would want for yourself to be yourself. You don't want others to tell you, it's not that you can't want good things for others and that you don't want them to succeed, but you have to allow them the space you would want to be able to do it on your own. You wouldn't want someone pushing it down your throat or telling you how to live, and it might come off the wrong way. So you have to allow them to be themselves on their own time, and realize that maybe there's something stewing in there. Maybe a nice conversation here and there, even when you don't see eye to eye, is doing something in there and something is changing in there, and you don't know. So give them the space and the time to come up with it. Or, you know, like I said, put up a boundary, do what you have to do. But no matter what, just be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, love yourself. You're going to have more space for others if you love yourself. And if you take anything from this video, reminder, you are the bee's knees. You're awesome. You're amazing. You are loved because I love you, because you're here. I am not filming these videos by any means for anything other than to, you know, have this space with you guys. So I just want you guys, no matter what, to be yourself and do what feels right to you. I hope you have amazing, amazing holidays and an amazing start to your 2026. How long has he been laying like this? I was gonna say Gareth agrees, but like, do you see him right now? I think that's a great way to end this video. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being you. I am rooting for you. Have a great 2026, and I might make another video before then, but if not, I will see you then.